Oof, titles and thumbnails, titles and thumbnails. Well, hello everyone. We are in a usual setting. Okay. See, that's so weird. We're in a usual setting, meaning I'm home, um, with a non-atypical, but not the usual sponsor, non-sponsor. Sorry, who sponsor? Can you imagine? And I was gonna leave the door open, but I was gonna leave the door open, but the light is too bright and the camera is too good to, like, it wasn't dark. That was supposed to be dark. And I guess the sun is literally rising now. So still, but it wasn't dark enough. I wonder if that's because, anyway, it wasn't dark enough. So I was like, fine, I'll close the door. Ruin my ambiance, the vibe. Ooh, why not? I have this little tripod thingy that I got for my Switch. Well, I guess a stand that I got for my Switch that I like never use because I never play it in handheld mode. That I was gonna take to work for my phone, but I haven't. Um, and I was about to move it off the desk, but I think we're gonna use it. Well, we'll see. So it's this. And yeah, so it's like a little, but I'm going to use it for whatever archangel presideth over this message. So for the past week or so, maybe a little bit longer, but for the past week or so, maybe like past 2 weeks or so, it doesn't matter. For the recent now, from the recent now, if that's how that works. I've been wanting to pull before and after, or at least after, now that I think about it. I've wanted to pull before and after the archangels, the four archangels in the Spirit Keepers Tarot, specifically Vitruvian Edition, because for me, they've unfolded in the series as I've read different messages throughout the years on here with that deck. The Archangel of Mysteries was the first archangel that appeared and would just like pop up all the time. And then the Archangel of Healing came out with the spiritual self deprivation tank. Then the Archangel Commander started coming out much later with that Michael teaching us how to use the sword. And now the Archangel of Glory is like coming / here / next, which is like coming, doing who knows what. I guess a recent reading kind of hinted at it. But I was like, just in general, even though those were a series of general readings, it's kind of been again my process through the archangels, the four archangels in this deck, and how it's evolved. And I was like, I kind of want to do that just like in general, just do like a bunch of like shuffle up the deck, go through from top to bottom, from face down, go through from top to bottom, face down, and just see. And then I have the Spirit Keepers Tarot Revelations Edition to clarify the cards that come either after or before and after the Archangel of Mystery. No, the Archangel in question, or of interest, the Archangel of Interest, to see what it reveals or to get a little bit more understanding or whatever. And I guess I'll do one of those because why not? And yeah. So I was like, even this light, this is a tiny little light that's not even on my face. It's not giving me the Scorpio spooky ooky vibe that I wanted. She's not giving mystery. She's very much so giving revelation, surprise, and the quality on, no, yeah. That's the one thing, though. It makes the quality look a lot worse because the lighting isn't that great. But that's fine. I could turn these lights back on. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't, because you get to see my mega shadow. Give myself bunny ears. There we go. I got shadow bunny. Oh my gosh, I'm the fool from the Starman Tarot. Is that the one? Anyway, so let's get into it. Let's see what's up, shall we? I don't know if I'm gonna do. Maybe before will be like. I'll read it. We'll just into it, shall we? Shall we? Give this a few shuffles. I hopefully won't be on for too long. I just saw Aries, Cancer, and Capricorn. The Emperor and the Chariot at the top of the deck. The Devil at the bottom of the deck. Where's Libra? There's Jupiter in Libra with the Four of Swords. Jupiter and Libra opposing Venus and Aries. Oh my gosh, these are my placements. Anyway, the two benefics opposing. Venus on the north node, Jupiter on the south. Jupiter on the south node almost sounds like a nightmare. All right. Because of like Jupiter's expansive, whatever, it's like not a living nightmare, but I don't know. It's just like, oof. You know what I mean? All right, we'll give it two more. Then I'll cut it, and then we'll be ready to go. Ready to go. Ba-ba-da, ba-ba. Oop. I was going to cut it in three, but these are some really small piles. So we're cutting it in 5. Again, we're pulling from the top. So just in general, a path through a collective path through the archangels of the Spirit Keepers Tarot. The archangels are the kings in the suits in this deck. So I was going to say, you want to hedge your bets? You want to place your bets for the order? Go ahead. The King of Pentacles is the Archangel of Mysteries. The King of Wands is the Archangel of Glory. The King of Swords is the Archangel Commander. And the King of Cups is the Archangel of Healing. If you want to guess in order. Maybe if you guess the correct order, maybe it's like the more you guess in the right position, the more this like resonates for you. You know what I mean? I don't know. Anyway. We have the Healer, the title card, and the Stronghold of the Grail at the top of the deck. Interesting. These are the top 3 cards. What's interesting is because of the symbol on the chest, although it would be for the stronghold of the, oh, maybe this is related. Although it would be for the stronghold of flames, the Page of Wands, which came out in the Revelations edition, I want to say sometime around the summer, but I don't remember. Or was it like Virgo into Libra season? Was it? I feel like it was either like Leo or Virgo, where the Page of Wands came out with the Knight of Wands and another card. And it was this like, as you venture throughout yourself, there is something external to you that is also finding you. Anyway, but it feels like because of the emblem on her chest that the healer is inside the letter, right? Because like there's the letter with the seal, there's her. So it's like she pops out of the letter. I don't know if it'd be like a hologram or whatever. Herald of the oh yeah. Okay. Herald of the purifying and the healer. So this is nice. I guess what's interesting is though that there seems to be such an obvious connection, although the specifics of the connection may not be as obvious, but there is an obvious connection between the herald of the purifying and the healer. So why would the title card be coming out in between them? Unless if this were like unexpected opportunities or unexpected communication or healing that leads to more healing in a surprising way. So maybe not as a rigor, uh, not as rigorous. Yeah, maybe in a not as rigorous way. Maybe a little bit more like passive healing. Because I think sometimes there's active healing and then there's passive healing. And passive healing, from my vantage point, is basically when it's like bonus healing, it's extra healing. When we heal things that we don't necessarily intend to, or when we heal things that we don't necessarily divert our focus and attention to. It's like I healed this and I healed this and I healed this. And then all of these branching things also got healed, right? So, like, let's say, for instance, you healed your self worth and you, so like the active healing was like self love, self worth. And then like the passive healing, like like very connected, but not necessarily what you like intended to do. Um, as you were healing self love, self worth, you got a passive healing of like loving your body, right? Like you never necessarily devoted focus, attention, and effort towards like seeing yourself in a more positive way, like physically. Um, but it just happened, right? So now, like, at some point, you become more and more and more comfortable in your own skin to the point where maybe there were some like habits and behaviors that you used to exhibit because of an uncomfortability that you no longer do. And then, like, you don't even realize that you're not doing it until maybe someone mentions it. Like, maybe you're body conscious and you wear like large hoodies, like oversized hoodies, but as you were doing your like self-love, self-worth healing, like you stopped wearing them and someone's like, oh my gosh, you're not wearing your hoodie, like you always wear your hoodie. And you're like, whoa. And then like it hits you, right? So like there's active and passive healing. I tried to give an example. And so I don't know if this is necessarily like that, but because of the order that they came out, like there's this large healing, large scale healing with the healer. And then out of the blue, the title card is my live life and find out card. And it's live life and find out because there's no way to accurately predict or foretell what is to happen in that situation, in this situation. But when that happens, the herald of the purifying, it's like after that major healing comes, the herald of the purifying like follows suit. It's almost like the presence of the healer invites this herald, this stronghold. And that could be like opportunities, right? Let's say that there were things that you were manifesting that were bigger than I roll my eyes because I'm like, because I literally just talked about it. Like, I think the last time I was live. So, like, I would try to give a different example, but let's say that you were manifesting. So, for me, it was manifesting beyond my capacity to receive for whatever reason. And it's like almost similar, but it's like because things come to us through the path of least resistance. And there was something that maybe we were manifesting where there was no path that it could reach us that was not overburdened with resistance, right? But after this healing was done, there was a resistance that to dissolve that's no longer there, or that's lessened enough for the thing to find us, for the thing to find you. And so that's why it's like healing begets more healing, but it's not healing begets something unexpected. Okay. A message. Anyway. So we haven't seen the archangel of healing, but we have seen her stronghold. Interesting. Let's see. Stronghold of the archangel commander is next. I might actually talk about this one. I feel like this reading is low key taking a different turn. First, we had in the first triad or the first trio of cards, it ended with the stronghold of the Grail, the Page of Cups. After the stronghold of the Zephyrs, and I was like, well, it's just C because we looked at the other stronghold, right? Why not? It's the Shining Dew, which is the Knight of Cups, which is like the next step. So it's like we're stepping closer and closer towards the Archangel of Healing. So like I feel like because of that, it would be like totally appropriate for the Archangel of Healing to be the first archangel that we encounter. But this is interesting. I think I'm going to keep these out because I don't know if this is going to be a storyline that we continue as on our journey to find these archangels. Trying to give myself a little bit more room. So the next triad of interest, trio of interest, it's the captor, Jupiter and Gemini, the strong, which is the Eight of Swords, the stronghold of the Zephyrs, and the Shining Dew, waters and waves. The herald of consummating is the stronghold of the Zephyrs. This is our next trio. Hey Holly, I see, and I feel like because with that healer, there was a thing about manifesting things that were beyond our capacity to receive because there was too much resistance, no matter the path that thing took. And so when I see this, the Eight of Swords with basically the page, not basically, the Eight of Swords with the Page of Swords, it mirrors that energy, but it adds a much more mental note to it rather than like emotional because it was like the healer and the stronghold of the Grail because it was like watery. But also there comes a point where it becomes difficult to separate the mind from the emotions. Right? Like depression is both mental and emotional, and they're almost inextricably linked. Like, where does the mental begin and the emotional end? Anxiety, I would say, might be more mental physical. Maybe not. I don't know. That one I can't necessarily speak on as much. Um, how are you, Holly? Did I ask? But it's like there's something, it's almost like the stronghold of the Zephyrs couldn't deliver this message because there's something that the captive could not see or conceptualize of. And then we have this Knight of Cups. And the Knight of Cups, like pages, but the Knights, I guess, also. I feel like, well, no, the Knight of Cups and the Knight of Swords, I guess, especially, are knights associated, I feel, more associated with like communication and delivering a message. Although maybe they all can be, right? I wonder if I'm almost reading this in reverse. Because, I mean, before, at first, it was a healer. Hey, glad to hear it. It's always nice to be able to be mobile. I feel like there are images in my mind that I don't understand. I'm like, what is this? So I'll just tell you, because sometimes when that happens, it's like, I don't know what this is, but it resonates for somebody. So the captor, the person being held captive, and the captor is the angel in temperance. But that angel in temperance also, at least to me, is very reminiscent of the healer. But it's like every time you see the captive, there's like less and less rope. And so this time, it's like there's only a few ropes still on this angel. But I've never seen it as this before, but it's like that's one of the ropes and that's one of the ropes. And so in my mind, it's like um, as the rope is cut, it's like this huge. I've only ever seen it as like chains, like big chains in video games or movies. It's like when the chain is broken, they just like fall and then they go boom, right? Well, obviously, when they hit the ground. But there's something, because it's almost like if there were a mythology, maybe a mythology of creation, but not necessarily. Like if there were a mythology that explained mountains as chains that bound a great being that were loosed. Like when the chains fell, they became mountains. Like that's how big the chains were. I don't know. There's something about these like ropes that lead back. I don't know if they like feed into the healer. Like I've never seen those as rope. Honestly, I've never really noticed. I paid attention to them before, but today they're reading like ropes that were felled, if that's the right word. Also, because the water on this crest. Looks like the waves of Aquarius up here. There was also something with this, like, again, that speaks to resistance that kept us from going whatever, receiving whatever. It's like all of the cups had to be poured out. The healer had to pour out all of these cups before we could be presented with a new one, which is interesting because it's almost like a Five of Cups energy. I saw the Vagabond Five of Pentacles. It's almost like a Five of Cups energy, but instead of realizing that, like, because typically in the Five of Cups, there's 3 spilled cups and 2 cups that are still upright. So it's like, perspective will help us find where we aren't alone. But here it's almost like the healer pours out the remaining 2 cups. Instead of like trying to salvage a situation, it just like resets the board almost. I don't get it. I don't get it. Maybe I could see that being like, well, sorry. I don't mean to roll my eyes and make that noise, but it's like I can almost see it being like if someone had karmic ties to something, doesn't have to be a specific person, but if someone had karmic ties to something, like let's say that someone explains away other people's toxic behaviors. And so they put up with and tolerate more than they should. So it's almost like a Five of Cups mentality, or the medicine of the Five of Cups wouldn't be helpful for that person because that person is already like rose tinting over like everything not great and being like, oh, well, like it's because this and it's because that. And like eventually at some point, like they keep like fixing towards the Two of Cups in that situation rather than like realizing like, hey. And so then this healer would be like, it's time to stop making excuses. Like there's nothing salvageable in this situation. And so then that person would pour out the remaining 2 cups when they have a moment of clarity and they go, oh, like, yeah, this is this is not great, right? And when they pour out all 5 cups, then they're like open to receiving a truer, healthier relationship, be it romantic, platonic, familial, whatever. And again, it's like that healing would open one up to receiving greater whatever or different or more. I'm not always avoidant of superlatives, if that is the word, if I'm using that word right. Let's see, let's ask my favorite assistant, or one of my liked assistants. Hey Google, define superlative.
Here's the definition of superlative: of the highest quality or degree.
Is there another one? A superlative, adjective, or adverb, an exaggerated or hypothetical expression of praise, expressing the highest or a very high degree of quality. Bravest, most recent. Okay. Well, when I said so in my mind, superlative was like better and best. Like good is the whatever, and then there's better, and then there's best. I didn't know superlative was all the way to the top. Best. There is no better. Superlative is only the best, right? I'm not one that feels like I always have to avoid superlatives or like better. Like this is better. That's more good. I think it's appropriate sometimes and it's not other times, but in this case, it would be something better because it's like there's healing that had to happen in order to get there. It's like if it weren't better in this case, then it wouldn't have required a lowering of resistance to get there. You know what I mean? Anyway, and I feel like, is there water here? Is there any water in this? Yeah, I mean, there's blood. There's a rift. Yeah, there is some water. It looks like this is a little bit of water right here. Um, I was just gonna say, I don't know if the water can get somewhere where the mind can't. Also, this could be something that wasn't seen. So it's like if in the depths of our despair or in the depths of the darkness of the dark night of the soul, it's like we don't see the people who are there for us, that love us, or like, your guardian angels, your guides, God, spirit, that is also there for you. It's like you don't see the goodness when you are overwhelmed by everything that's going wrong or that's not good. I feel like there's something more there, but oh wow, I was wrong. So if you guessed that the Archangel Commander would come out first, then you're right. So the Archangel Commander is our overarching um, angel, archangel, um, the guardian of the premier, the headliner, the because it's like the first one. It's like the first one initiates the path, but also concludes it. Okay. And this is the angel of storms and battles. So the reason why I wouldn't be, for me, easiest mental connection, low hanging fruit, the easiest like link between these and what's coming so far, it's almost like it's because it's important. And maybe that's why the first example or the first thing that was really coming to my mind was like passive healing. And it was like self love and self worth, healing the way that we see self, because the Archangel Commander does hold so much presence. Like, this is high key, like main character protagonist energy. But it's like the protagonist, the hero of the story, can't do. It's like our protagonist can't become the hero until they see themselves as such. But it's like our protagonist can't become the hero if they never get to the point where they like go on the adventure. Or they can't become the hero if they never get to that point where they do like the brave thing. You know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say? And in a lot of like media, news, news, okay. Why not? Movies, books, that kind of media. Uh, and a lot of storytellings, we see the hero throughout everything. So we see that part of the hero that is like maybe self-conscious and self-effacing question mark and not necessarily whatever, but we see them through that, and then we see the protagonist become the hero by the end, and it's like that's growth, right? That's growth, that's character growth, that's healing. Some heroes are heroic from the day they're born. You know what I mean? Some of them are like Korra, where she's like, I'm the avatar and you got to deal with it. And then she gets humbled and then she becomes a hero, you know? But anyway, Venus in Aquarius squares Saturn in Taurus. So the Five of Swords was before the Archangel Commander, and the Seven of Pentacles is after. This is interesting. This is interesting because the Five of Swords and the Archangel Commander mean something for the way that I naturally came across these archangels. If I were to read this in this context, though, this would be a period of time where one is very hypervigilant. I feel like hypervigilant is a good word to use in this scenario, especially. So, like, let's say it's the person who realizes, wakes up to the fact, I don't like that. Realizes, let's just go realizes. This is the one that realizes that, like, they are in toxic relationships, and it could be platonic, romantic, familial, whatever. And after they come to that realization, after it sinks in, after they see it, then it's almost like maybe they become a little hypervigilant, where they start to see certain things as toxic that may not necessarily be because of if like it's a different situation, right? So, like, let's say that this person expressed a boundary to somebody and that person continuously crossed it and didn't respect it. And then that person goes like that, and maybe other things. It's like, oh my gosh, you're toxic. And then they meet somebody else, and that person crosses a boundary, but it's a boundary that wasn't communicated. And so the hypervigilance of that person would see the boundary crosser as toxic, even though it's like that boundary was never communicated to them. So in this scenario, like, if that boundary was communicated, that person would never cross it again. So it's like they're not necessarily toxic. They're just unaware because it hasn't come up. You know what I mean? But there is like a little bit of hypervigilance here. Or it could be like, whenever you learn something new that really excites you and you want to tell like everybody, and so you go and bother people, like even strangers on the street. You're like, oh my gosh, did you know that blah, 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 because it just like blew your mind, right? And you want to spread the mind blowing whatever to everyone. But that hypervigilance is also a part of like learning the balance, right? It's like how I never read them, but from what I know of the Spider-Man comics, how he like snapped the neck of his first girlfriend because he didn't understand physics. Like, she was falling and he tried to catch her, but it was like the forces were not balanced. So like as the web pulled her up, the whiplash like snapped her neck. And then like that hypervigilance was when he learned to like use his powers with the forces of nature to get the desired outcome, rather than trying to use his powers to subvert undesirable outcomes. Right? Because in trying to using his power to keep her from growing splat, he snapped her neck. type of energy. But again, it's like the Seven of Pentacles coming out of it is like how we learn and grow. It's the pendulum, right? And it's not like it's a pretty natural part of a lot of people's process, it seems. To maybe perhaps go a little overboard at first, but then you learn balance. And it's this balance. It feels like ultimately it's the end result of this balance. I'm actually going to grab the La Fruma instead of going to the Revelations, and I'm going to look before and after this rune. The rune of man. So give me one moment as I go and grab that deck. Actually, I'm going to use my first draft of the Fruma because I think it's right here. Yes, it is. And I'm going to use this deck as it is, so I'm not even going to shuffle it. This is my rough draft, the Raw Runes version 1. Melissa. And we're going to look before and after man. We're going to save the Revelations for the following archangels. Do. Oh, snap. No. Interesting. No, we'll keep it. The names may have changed between the raw first edition and the published edition. The names and the associations may have changed. Here we go. Oh, interesting. Yeah, the whole deck is in reverse. Never mind. I thought there were some that were like upright, but no, it's all in reverse. Kirsty, how you doing? I was just thinking earlier. I was thinking that there was no, and I was going to say it when I came on, but I didn't say it. But I was just thinking like the reason why, like, because usually when I visit the UK, I get like a string of sunny days and gorgeous skies, but that did not happen this time. And I was like, it's because I didn't see Kirsty. I didn't see the sunshine of the UK. And so all of my days were dreary and foggy and drizzly and cold. I got no sun, Kirsty. I got no sun. How are you doing? I was like, yeah, usually I get a few days. So, I was gonna pick this rune. I don't have my glasses on, so I gotta go like this. Who was that? Oh, that's man. This is man. Hold up. I was wrong. What? I was wrong. I thought I was looking for this rune, and I wasn't. I was looking for I was looking for horse. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. The synchronicities have been synchronicity. Okay? The synchronicities have been very synchronicities, like synchronicity overload. I was like, oh my gosh. I watched the Barbie movie on the way back. I didn't watch it on the way there because my headphones weren't working. I watched the Barbie movie, and Ken brought patriarchy to Barbie Land. Because I thought I was looking for man, but I was actually looking for horse, right? And when I saw it, I was like, this is the one I'm actually looking for. You can't see it. This is the one I was actually looking for, not this one. And so by the end of the movie, Barbie and the Barbies overcome the patriarchy. I couldn't think of the word. Disrupt. I don't know. But Ken's like, he was like, it's fine. Like, I was kind of over it when I found out that it wasn't about horses. Like, Ken was over it when he found out that it was about men and not horses. So that's why I'm like, oh my gosh, the synchronicities are synchronicity. This is hilarious. Because I found man when I should have been looking for horses. Anyway, I just thought that was funny. Candle and Wickedcraft came out with man. And this is Candle Phosphorus. I really need to grab my glasses. And they came out in reverse, right? And then around horse, which is the thing that I was actually looking for, we have Hang True and Leecha. Hang True, Gallows, and Leech, Emotional Bleed. Oh, that emotional bleed. That emotional bleed is interesting because, again, I was talking about that point where how sometimes it's hard to tell where emotions end and the mental begins and vice versa. How sometimes they are so inextricably linked that the emotions do lead to the mental and the mental does lead to emotions. This is also interesting because I was just talking about Spider-Man. Man with Candle and Wickedcraft is Spider-Man's attempt to subvert the laws of nature. And ended up snapping Gwen Stacy. Was that her name? Like I said, I don't know. When he ended up snapping Gwen Stacy's neck. No, Gwen Stacy. It's something Stacy. Now I gotta Google what is Spider-Man's first girlfriend. Or was it Gwen Stacy? Yes. Gwen Stacy. Where are my glasses? Okay. She's Spider-Gwen, but in the main universe, she is the first romantic interest for Peter following his high school graduation before she is murdered by the Green Goblin. Her death has haunted Peter ever since. Okay. But wasn't she the one that, like, he snapped her neck? And I think in The Amazing Spider-Man 2, he ended up doing that with Emma Stone in that one. Anyway. Yeah. So her name was Gwen Stacy. But that was Spider-Man's attempt to subvert the physical laws by, like, forcibly breaking her fall, unaware that the human body still must obey the laws of physics. And again, when it's not. Hey Sandra, how you doing? Maybe. Oh, that's what they say. No, no. I was going to say save a horse, ride a cowboy, but that's the opposite. So anyway, it's fine. So that was the attempts, man, in all of its arrogance. This is the attempt at subverting the laws of nature with Candle and Wickedcraft. But in Hang True and Leecha, this one is it works with the forces of nature, right? Is that my number one fan? So I came home, y'all. I just got the best Christmas present ever that I've ever received. Because I remember, like, I was telling my journey buddy, I was like, I really want to decorate my place before I leave so that when I come back, it's all decorated. And I didn't. And when I made it back home, and as I was walking up the stairs, I was like, man, like, or as I was walking up to my apartment, I was like, man, like, I wish I would have decorated because then I'd be coming back to like a holiday apartment rather than my regular apartment. And I was really like kind of bummed out. And then I walked up to the door and I saw a wreath on my door. I was like, what? And sleigh bells on the door handle. I was like, what? And then I walk into my room and there's like, or my room. And there's like Santa hats on the chairs. There's like the tablecloths with little snowmen. Like my mom, my number one fan, ended up decorating my apartment when I was gone. So I came back to a holiday apartment and she went like all out. She did a better job than I would have or could have. And it just made me so happy. I almost cried. But anyway, she just texted me. So uh oh, this is interesting. So yes. So I thought I was looking for man, and that's because this room. So the reason why it isn't man is because there aren't two connecting here. There's only a solid connection here. And that's why I was like, oh, I'm not looking for man because man has both of those. But horse only has the one at the top. See? Um, what's also interesting about this is, though, it's in the colors that I used. This is one of the reasons why I love the raw rooms that I made. It's because of the colors here. No, I can't tell. It's almost giving me purple and black, almost, but it's light blue and black. But it's like the colors, the blue, purple, black of Wickedcraft are like here. But like this is man. And then man is also like that light blue and purple. So maybe that also, because this healing is necessary, because there was resistance that I don't know a word, like there has to be a word because physics. When you have more resistance in a circuit than you have power, or like voltage or current or whatever, when you have more resistance than current, you get no power because the resistance like drains it all away. And there's something about man. So the reason why I did Wickedcraft like this is because it's almost like Scorpio. Oh my gosh, that was the spooky vibe that I wanted that I couldn't get anyway. It's almost like Scorpio, how it's like it gets deeper and deeper and deeper. That's why I did it like blue, purple, black. And by the time you reach the bottom of Wickedcraft, that's like, oh, whatever. But man is only able to go as far as the purple. So that's why in his frustration or in the weight of his desire to subvert a certain outcome, it's like he doesn't dig deep enough. He gets stuck in the purple. And that's why, Gwen Stacy. But in Hang True, it's like it goes from blue to black. Hang True gets the truth of the runes and all of their Hang True gets gets a fuller picture of the truth of the runes than when Odin hanged on the tree, because he hanged for like a reason and for a purpose. It's like, um, yeah, it was really nice. I had to tell her again today because yesterday I called her and I was like so tired. And I was just like, thanks for decorating my apartment and setting up my entertainment center. But yeah, like it really did mean a lot. So I had to tell her again. I was like, thank you. Because that really, like, I was so bummed out that I wasn't going to come back to my holiday apartment. And I did because she did it for me. And maybe also because, like, she video called me one day and I forget what she was talking about. And I feel like I was a little short, or not short. I was just like probably on the couch. Or like waiting for my friend to do something. And then I came back and like she did all that. I was like, oh, that was nice. That was really nice. Shout out to my number one fan. Uh, Shout out to mom. So yeah, there's something about getting to the depths of this. But what's interesting is in Hang True, we actually, it's almost like, yeah, and I didn't even tell her. I didn't even tell her how badly I wanted to decorate. I don't think I did. I'm pretty sure I didn't. I just told my journey buddy. I was like, I would really love to like decorate before I leave. But yeah, moms know, they do. There's something a little lion's paw about the red in between the blue and the purple. But this is the reason why. It's whatever deck that is. I feel like Sand has it. It's Heal the Ouch. And it's like, it's this ouch. It's this resistance that keeps man from getting to the black of Wickedcraft. It's whatever this red is in between blue and purple that creates enough resistance that the purple can never go black. And so again, man tries to subvert the outcome. And that's why horses movement, because you get a lot faster, you get a lot farther, a lot faster when you work with natural forces than trying to work against them. Because in some situations, natural forces will always win. Cool. Interesting. Wow. I love when these like play together. You know what I mean? Where's Eve? I got the blur. I'm kidding. Hi, Eve. If you're listening on your way to work or later. Interesting. So this explains why I feel like that explains like this emotional bleed, the red between the purple and blue explains why all of this, like the healer, the herald of the purifying, had to come out, or why it came out before the Archangel Commander. Again, it's like all of this makes sense being told in this way, at least. But there's something interesting, like in the movie, in the book, you see it. And maybe you, because of the cover or because of the title or because of whatever assumption, you assume that the person you see the most throughout the entire, like the main character, is going to be the hero by the end. So there's almost an expectation, maybe, for the person to overcome and become the hero by the end of it, unless the genre is like tragedy or horror or something. Well, even in some horror, you know, unless you get one of those movies or books without a happy ending. You know, most of them have a fairly decent chance of being a happy ending. The hero makes it to the end instead of being snubbed by the villain early. Unless you're watching anime, some animes now. Anyway, back to this. Did you really? Did you really? Wait, where's my not? Oh, there it is. Everlong Mystic, Don Juan, Hedonist, Vampire, Sagittarius. I was like, where's my notification? I'm subscribed. I got the bell clicked. I got it. Um, so yes. Oh yeah. So that's interesting because in the movies and the books we see it, but it feels like here it's like yes, we see it, but as we're living our lives, it's not as much of a focus until it is. I think I'm really interested to see what the first six is. Or this Archangel Commander is sitting in the space of a six because it's five Archangel Commander seven. Like it should be five, six, seven. And there's something in between here as we go from hypervigilance to balanced. And we don't always have to go from hypervigilance to balance. From hypervigilant to balanced, right? Um, but it's like there's something here that tempers this. And that's why I'm like, where's the six? But also, like I said, the main archangel introduces and concludes an energy. So we still got three more archangels to find, and it's already been an hour. So the Scarlet Shield, well, I think I also passed like the Knight of Pentacles. So yeah, never mind. Never mind. Just kidding. Oh, never mind, never mind, never mind to that, never mind. This is the reason why the Scarlet Shield caught my eye. I didn't even consciously, like, because there's the six, the giver, Six of Pentacles, before the Scarlet Shield. And then Sun in Aries, the politic, Sun in Aries, Moon in Taurus on the other side. Hey, there's our six. I'm going to just put them here because, why not? This is an investment. It's an energy of an investment. It's an energy of an investment because the Scarlet Shield gives with a knowing of what's to come. See, but now it's some weird time. There's like time travel in this story now because this person gives to themselves. Type of energy. It's like there's something in the future that makes its way to the present in order to ensure that that future happens. And it's one of those movies where, like, if you watch it, it's not until you reach the end of the movie that you realize that the character you see first is the character that you meet at the end. Because at the end of the movie, they go back in time and start that whole chain of events type of energy. And I guess that's interesting because, like I said, the first archangel is at the beginning and the end. They introduce and conclude. And then the shield of that archangel is the one who shows up to give something, knowing what it is to become. The Three of Wands in this deck is three wise men coming together, gazing into the fires of whatever, fires of divination to get a prophecy. And then they symbolize past, present, and future in their three staves, and their three staves. Now, this prophecy energy is also interesting, though, because of Candle Wicketcraft. And then the Hang True under it. Man not that Odin was a man, but Odin hanged for a reason. And it's like everything was like, again, very pointed and very focused. Like, how can this rune or how can these runes get me to the outcome that I want? And so there's a filter, like the rose tinted glasses. So instead of it being the truth as an absolute, it was the truth as intended for whatever. Again, trying to subvert an outcome rather than working with, like, trying to work against certain forces to subvert an outcome rather than working with them to, like, knead it and smooth it and gently coax it into a different direction. And that force of fate, Ragnarok, still happened. So, Well, but yeah, so it's interesting that prophecy is here because that was a man in Candle Wickedcraft, or that energy came out. It's also interesting, there's something, I don't know if the moon is leading the sun, because the sun is in Aries and the moon is in Taurus, which means that we just had a new moon Aries a few days ago, if not a few hours ago. And so in this case, again, it would be like the moon is leading the sun, maybe. I don't know. I just think it's cool that I got my 6. So this would be moon conjuncting Saturn. And this would be moon conjuncting Saturn in Taurus, squaring Venus in Aquarius. That's interesting. That's also like emotional bleed energy, because Venus feels like, maybe not necessarily in her shadow, but like Venusian energy has the potential to overindulge in order to overindulge in order to cope with certain feelings, right? Like Venus would be the one that shops, or the one that eats, or the one that lounges or lazes through Taurus, more specifically, Venus would either Libra or Taurus her way around a feeling to, like, not really go there. But Venus is in Scorpio right now. So, like I said, how this is like Scorpio and how we're getting to the bottom of the black rather than being stuck at the purple. She's in it. And that's why Saturn is with the moon. It's like, no, again, it's the energy of this emotional bleed. Like, you have to work through this. You have to face it. And again, we started with the healer, the title card, and the stronghold of the Grail, which is the herald of the purifying. We started with all this healing and purification up front. So we already know it's happening, or that it's happened. So I guess prepare to get a lot farther. Anyway, that was interesting. I didn't even consciously see the 6 when I was just like, oh, it's our Queen of Swords. Like, let's see what's up. Also, every time one of these shields catch my eye, it's for a reason. Now we have the Stronghold of the Zephyrs, the Scarlet Shield, and the Archangel Commander out of the deck and on the table. That's the Page of Swords, Queen of Swords, and King of Swords. We're only missing the Knight of Swords, right? I've seen the Knight of Pentacles in here, I believe. I was like, hold on, yeah. Here's the Knight of Pentacles. Also, the Queen of Pentacles. Oh, yeah, that's why. I saw this Ebony Shield, and I was like, ooh. And then I looked before her, and it was Apocalypse, and I was like, ah. And then the Archangel of Glory came out. So, There's our next archangel. Page of Cups, Knight of Cups. How do I want to do this? I'll do it like this. So these are all the cards that aren't on the table already before the Archangel Commander came out. These are the cards that came out between the Archangel Commander and this Archangel of Glory, which is our next one. I don't have enough table space. And Apocalypse is here, which is our Leo. There's Leo. Nothing's in Leo. Why am I mentioning Leo? Because the sun, I guess, in Aries, I guess. Sun, these are positions of, yes. These are positions of exaltation, I'm pretty sure. The sun is exalted in Aries. The moon is exalted in Taurus. I almost feel like that's more important than the moon leading the sun. I feel like that's also why this came out under the Archangel Commander, because this Archangel Commander is like the main Archangel, right? And so again, it's almost like it's clarifying, it's for us to be exalted in our light with the sun in Aries, but also for us to be exalted in our shadow with the moon in Taurus, or to be exalted in our darkness, for all parts of us to be made holy. Which is, again, why these emotional bleeds need to be faced, why we start out with such powerhouse healing energy, but also why healing title cards an invitation from beyond healing. Oh, the kindred. This is interesting. There's the Three of Cups. What the freak? Now I'm looking at, it's like there are ropes on these cups. There are ropes on the cups because of the rope on both the archangel, or both the healer and the captor. There are ropes, right? And then I was like, there's something about the rope. Something about that rope. Let's try to move this up. I'm going to need this space, please. Where was this? So this I'll put here. I'm trying to keep this together. I'm probably not going to pull these because honestly, I'm not trying to be on here all day today because, I got to work tonight. So I do eventually need to get to bed. This is another card of prophecy in this deck. The threes in the SKT are hydromancy, pyromancy, geomancy, and aeromancy. But in the Three of Cups, three priestesses come together to receive their own vision. Whereas in the Three of Wands, they all sort of share a vision from three different perspectives. It's just interesting that prophecy sort of has come out again in this Three of Cups. This is Venus in Cancer. This is almost the manifestation of Venus. Because in the Five of Swords, Venus was in Aquarius. Also, the card before that was the Seven of Cups, which is Venus in Scorpio. There we are right now. So we just worked back to it. Okay. So Venus in Aquarius. Aquarius is the water bearer. This is Mercury. I lied. I'm so sorry. This is Mercury in Cancer, not Venus. The little horns almost, well, I'm not wearing my glasses, so I didn't see the little horns. So this isn't Venus. Because I was going to say, with this being Venus in Cancer, I don't think Venus in Cancer has an association with the tarot card. But like Aquarius is the water bearer, the one that bears the water. So like it's the water that Venus is in, even though Venus came from water. Aphrodite, Venus, birth of Venus, seashell. She was the pearl of, his name isn't Titan, Cronus. Cronus's loin that was flung into the ocean, right? After he was castrated by Zeus. Jupiter. Where is Jupiter? Jupiter and Gemini. Anyway. Now we go to the revelations. I really am not going to have enough room. And I'm also going to take the revelations deck as is. No, I'll shuffle it. I was going to take it as is, but I'm not going to do that. I am not going to do that. I'm like, hold up. The Archangel of Glory being the first lesson here. I feel like off the jump, this is an invitation to see things on a deeper level. So in order to encapsulate this, but also leave enough wiggle room, I'm going to pull before the card before and after the card after. So before the Ebony Shield and after the Kindred. And I'm going to go from bottom to top this time in the Revelation. But yeah, I feel like with this Archangel of Glory, it's an invitation to look at things on a deeper level. Because she's presenting the apple, which is the pinnacle. Well, we could say she's presenting the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. And then here, with Mercury and Cancer, it's like it opens up a whole new world. Thomas Aquinas is where? It opens up a whole new world of like, so I'm thinking like the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. After they ate it, Adam and Eve realized that they were naked, right? And I guess being naked was bad because they tried to cover themselves. They were ashamed to be naked. But it's just like, it's this element of all of a sudden having to consider things that one never would have before. I was also going to say it's an invitation to look deeper because, again, like the Queen, the Ebony Shield was feeling very like, here is all of your experiences on Earth, your day-to-day life. But with the Three of Cups, it's like it's looking deeper. It's looking beneath the surface. We see the waxing full and waning moons on these ladies, giving us triple goddess energy. I was going to say 3 crowns energy, giving us triple goddess energy. It's interesting that this comes out with the Archangel of Glory, though. So going back to our hero story, this is a character who comes upon great power, right? And this is the moment where they choose if they want to be a hero or a villain. But it's a choice that's made through the consideration of consequences. And it's a choice that's like there's foresight here. Foresight and hindsight. Speaking of Titans, I guess we're going Prometheus and Epimetheus. Um, and again, it's like with it being Mercury and Cancer, Cancer is the first element, Cancer is the first water sign as we go through the wheel in order. Mercury rules Gemini. I don't know if it's domicile in Gemini, probably. But it's like as soon as as soon as Mercury steps out of its first element, it hits water, it hits Cancer. And again, it's feeling like that all of a sudden having to consider things or all of a sudden being aware of things that you weren't necessarily aware of before. So, like, let's say that you find out that for whatever reason you are avoiding palm oil. And it's almost one of those like you don't realize how many things are made of palm oil until you start reading ingredients. Because maybe at first you're like, oh, well, nothing's made of palm oil, so I don't have anything to worry about until you start reading the ingredients and you're like, oh my gosh, everything is made of palm oil. Is there nothing? And that's funny because when I was putting my liquids in the clear plastic bag at the airport going through TSA security on the way back. And this lady, she looked at me again, one of these encounters. Apparently, my trip was like, when I was there, it was like whatever. But now that I'm back, it's like all these synchronicities are like boom, 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 boom. I'm like, oh my gosh. But because it was so weird that like nobody was necessarily talking to me, but here I am, like putting my things in the bag. And she's like, you never realize how many liquids that you have. And I was like, and then I was like, yeah, until like you have to like put them in a bag. But anyway, that's why I like with the palm oil, I was like, yeah, because she was like, you never realize how many liquids you have. And then this is Mercury and Cancer again, the first water sign. It's like you got 3 whole liquids. This is also interesting because this subverts the Five of Cups energy. The healer pours out 2 cups, and there's our 3 cups upright. It subverts the Five of Cups in image only, but energetically, it doesn't. So now it feels like it's playing into that the things that had to be let go of in order to, because before it was the person that held on to the 2 of Cups but kept themselves in situations that they should not be in. And so they had to dump the remaining 2 cups. Like part of their healing was to dump the remaining 2 cups when they're in the Five of Cups energy, rather than like trying to find the positive in a crappy situation. It's like realizing that the turd is a turd and moving on to like actual chocolate. You know what I mean? Not to give anyone an image because now it's in my mind. So we have Apocalypse that came out before Judgment, Pluto, Fire, Scorpio, because Pluto. Um, and there's like 2 ibises, I believe. I just noticed the one in the water on this 3 of Cups. That's why I pointed out. Because there's 1 in the water here. And there's 2 here. Also, there's the Caduceus. Well, Caduceus-like imagery, which is Hermes Mercury. Excuse me. There's also this, I want to say like bilateral expansion. And I want to say bilateral because it's like we start with the singular point being the moon, being the singular point that we see in all of these images, right? Well, if we look at these two first, we have these singular points here, but here we have that singular luminary, but we see it's actually composed of three smaller luminaries. The moon is made up of three stars, even though that is kind of a sun because you know the rays of it anyway. And it's like this swirling, moving energy is this. It's waxing and waning. It's like the waxing and waning of that moon is it's expanding. It's like here's the moon, and then you go like that, and it starts to expand, right? Waxing, waning. It's interesting that it does this instead of just doing this. It's like it does this. Like that's right. That's interesting, right? Hopefully that's not some offensive, whatever, you know. Anyway. Moose nuggets. Oh gosh. I don't even want to imagine what a moose nugget is. I'm sorry. What are is it like Rocky Mountain oysters? Because I don't even know what Rocky Mountain oysters are for sure, but I'm pretty sure I don't want to know what Rocky Mountain oysters are. And if those are moose nuggets, then sorry to the niece. Okay, I'm giving it one more shuffle because it's been sitting on the table. I'm actually giving it two more shuffles. Oh, and then we have the seeker. Okay. Cool. Oh my gosh, from the bottom of the deck, you will never believe what's at the bottom of the deck. Oh, it's moose poop. Okay. All right. Guess what's at the bottom of the deck? It's the three of cups, the kindred. Now we see them in full color. The seeker flipped over. The kindred are at the bottom of the deck. I'm taking the card after because it's after. There is no card before. But here it is almost coated more like the moon because of the silver used in the Norse compass. Oof. It's the tower. And then the card before the ebony shield. There, the Archangel of Mysteries is our first archangel here. But it's chocolate, yeah. I'm assuming they're not selling poop. Can you imagine? Oh, look, there's our Archangel of Glory. Cool. It's our missing Knight of Swords, the Herald of the Winds. That's the Archangel of Glory. Oof. Wait, where did the Herald of the Winds go? Oh, the Herald of the Winds was before the Archangel of Glory. That's our missing Knight of Swords. Oh, okay. Wait, they spray paint nuggets gold? Wait, are you serious? That's wild. Okay. What am I looking for? The Ebony Shield. There's our Archangel Commander. Three of Wands, our healer. Oof, I'm gonna be on here for a minute. Here she is. Goodness. Oh, snap. So this is how much deck we got through. We got through all of this. This is all that lied. This is all that lied in between the bookmarks of the Archangel of Glory. So this archangel of glory is, by theory, taking up at least half of the journey, right? The first half is the biggest. The first arc is the most important for development. Sure. So this is literally 1516. After the kindred was the tower. So there's our Mars. Also Scorpio, because Mars rules Scorpio. And I guess the Emperor too, because Mars also rules the Emperor. I feel like I don't hear about the tower being Mars Scorpio as much as I hear about the Empress being Taurus Libra. You know what I mean? I mean, of course, there are people who talk about it, but I feel like I just don't hear about it as much. Anyway. Oh, snap. So, oh, and the devil. The devil is the card that came out. No, wait, I don't think I did that right. Hold up. I don't think I did that right. Because I was supposed to pull the card before our Ebony Shield and not the card after. I think that was the card after. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that was a card after. Or was it? I don't know. I guess we're just going to go with it. It's the devil. The devil, the demon, and the tower. Now, I love the tower here because in this deck, in the SKT, I believe in both versions, and 2 out of 3 versions for sure, it has the Axe of Shiva. And the Axe of Shiva, oh my gosh, that's our waxing waning. That's our waxing waning moons. Oh my gosh, isn't that crazy? Isn't that crazy? Um, the Axe of Shiva removes corruption. And then we have the demon here with the chains. With the chains around the lovers. And there's something about the ropes falling like chains. This is a whole lot. Then I'm gonna shuffle. I'm gonna shuffle these back. Am I gonna keep the seeker out? Yeah, I'm gonna keep the seeker out. And again, I feel like this just like on one hand, this makes sense again because the first part is all about the healing, what healing begets, and stuff like that, right? To go from the devil to the tower, which is the removal of the corruption. I think it's also interesting. Did this come up? I'm trying to think. It's been an hour and a half. Yes, hypervigilance. That's what this was. I think it's interesting that in the removal of corruption, the snakes stayed. Because you can see the snake sort of around this demon. But the snakes remain. As the tower falls and as these chains are cut. Look at the chain breaking. Oh my gosh. The lightning is breaking the chain. It won't, yeah, well, there you go. The lightning just cracked that chain. Whoop, whoop, look at that, look at that, look at that. Oh my goodness. Wait. But it's like the snakes remain while the devil is, our devil energy is like Purified, herald of the purifying. LOL. The axe that removes corruption. Um, it's that hypervigilance, or it's reminiscent of the hypervigilance and how it was like, um, if you haven't communicated, hey David, how you doing? If you haven't communicated a boundary and someone crosses a boundary, it's different than someone who crosses a boundary that you have communicated. Like if they know it's a boundary and they cross it anyway, versus someone who doesn't, right? But in that hypervigilance, it may just be like, you crossed the boundary, therefore you're toxic, blah, 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 boom. And it's like, oh, I didn't know, type of energy anyway. But I was trying to see if there was anything where something remained. And hypervigilance was the one thing. It's like it's the closest to this energy, but it's not the same. It may be a mirrored reflection of it, like a less is more, an opposite side. Also, we have the waning waxing here. And I was just saying how it's interesting that it's doing this instead of doing this. Because here in the acts of Shiva removing corruption, it is this. So if this were computer code, this would be a symbol for deletion, whereas this would be a symbol for insertion or expansion. Like this would expand a list, but this would delete everything inside of the parentheses. Right. Because they receive a vision, because there's more knowledge, information, because it goes deeper with that, but this axe removes. I feel like we're getting into the superpower with this being the archangel. And again, this is like chapter 1. This is the origin. This is where a lot of the development happens. This is where we get to know the characters. We see the characters come through some of their triumphs before, like leading up to and pretty much immediately after they discover their power or whatever. Right? Because there's the discovery of the power, and then there's the utilization of it, and like the whoo ha ha, and then there's the threat. Then there's the big bad, the villain, where they have to use their powers for good or not, because the power is yours and how you choose, right? Anyway. And there's something about, it's almost like there's something about insertion and deletion. There's something about the power of perspective, maybe, because it's like it's this double-edged, like there's this side of the power and then there's this side of the power. There's the deletion and the remover of corruption, and then there's the expansion in the prophecy, looking deeper into things and all of that. So I almost wonder, I'm looking at this Wickedcraft rune again, and how they all go in the same direction. There's something about this being like half a power. It's kind of like Charmed, when Piper finds out that she can blow stuff up. If she speeds down molecular movement, she can stop time. If she speeds up molecular movement, things combust. And again, it's that like the opposite side of something. And I wonder if we only see half of it. I wonder if it's only for us to see half of it at this point because it is so early. There's also a tie back to this healer. Because I said it was interesting because on the chest of the healer, it's an upward pointing triangle inside the circle. If you can see it, if it'll focus. Will you focus? But on the letter, it's a downward pointing. There we go. It's a downward pointing triangle on the letter, but it's an upward pointing triangle on the healer. But the demon has the downward pointing triangle on his chest. But that's the circle in the square instead of it being the triangle in the circle. I don't know. That's a square. You know, it's like this shape more closely mirrors this one, but it's this one that actually does the thing. But the title card came out in between them, and maybe that's why. The title card was the live life and find out. The title card was something unexpected. Girl, I feel like I bit off a lot. I'm not going to say more than I can chew yet, but this is a lot, of course. I should have expected it to be a lot. Also, I am maybe spending a little more time. So, anyway. Heal the Ouch came out earlier. Pain reveals sensitivity. There's a reason why that's this. The thing that cannot be healed, not the thing that cannot be healed, but the source of the resistance is right here. That's why the symbol is the same. Like the chest in this letter, because this is the grail that's missing from the chest of the demon. And there was something copy about, what was copy? Venus and Scorpio? No, it was Venus. There was something copy about Venus, but it's not until she hits, that's why she's like debilitated in Scorpio, because Venus is like, I don't want to like I'm all about having a good time. I'm about sensuality. And then it's like, okay, well, Scorpio is also very sensual, Venus. So, like, doesn't Venus and Scorpio make sense? Like, hello. If Venus is, you know, the tantric, or if Scorpio is the tantric and Venus is like Venus, like, shouldn't she like to, you know, shouldn't she like Scorpio? If we're just going off of, you know, whatever. This is something within the hero that they have to face and own up to. It's like they get half of it. So this translated, brought down, simplified, a manifestation of this could be, while we are so externally and outwardly focused on like what other people have done to us, and as we in our hypervigilance, especially early in the healing, as we in our hypervigilance start to like correct for things outside of us by establishing boundaries and doing whatever we need to do to maintain those boundaries, it's like there comes a point where we look in the mirror, and it's the corrector it's the Seven of Cups in the Revelations edition that actually has a mirror on that corrector. And in the mirror is the axe of Shiva. Let's find it. But it's like when we look at ourselves, we get the other half of that power. We get so far by pointing the finger outside. But when we can not point the finger inside, the Seven of Cups in the Revelations edition has the axe of Shiva and this mirror. So this is like, again, the external corruption and the chains and effects from the external. But here we can also do it internally. which is cool. But is also, and then there's the warrior, which is the sun. I've seen the sun. Oh, and then there's the other title card. I've seen the warrior. Where is it? I know I've seen the warrior. Here it is. Between the Five of Pentacles and the Three of Pentacles. Oh, there's the, okay, this is the important part. The demon. Oh, and the seeker. The seeker, the demon, the Five of Pentacles, and the warrior. There's our warrior. Where in the Revelations deck, the sun illumination with that self-reflection. But where's my connection? Because the Five of Pentacles, I think the Five of Pentacles was technically before the Ebony Shield, and I just instinctively pulled the card after, and that was the demon. So that's our tie-in. It's the Five of Pentacles, Five of Pentacles. See, but that's also why I'm clarifying with the Revelation edition, because when these cards come out, it can be like anything. And this is one revelation of a larger truth. Again, because it's the purpose is not to do this candle witchcraft. Right? In Candle Witchcraft, we get half of the story, we get 2/3 of the story, and we are trapped within the confines of our ego with man. But in the Hang True Leech, again, this was us open to the truth of the runes and all of their radiance, complexity, absolutism, rather than the version of the truth that helps us try to win or prevent a Ragnarok. So that to say that the revelations obviously go beyond the cards that I pull and my interpretation of them. It's part of a potential part of the story. Cool. So next, who is next? Who is next? So if you guessed, I don't want to say guessed, if your order was Archangel Commander, and then the Archangel of Glory, King of Swords, and then King of Wands, you are 2 for 2 right now. I looked at the bottom of the deck. No, this is the bottom of the deck, the page. Anyway. Ooh. Oh, wait, I am doing that, aren't I? If I continue to pull around the pages, oh, this is interesting. So we have the Two of Cups and the Chancellor. I love this because this is like aligning to higher justice, like major arcana justice, rather than our idea of justice that is based upon our experience and what we wish to happen in it. This is, so there's a 3-card window. Well, there's 2 cards before and 2 cards after our Stronghold of the Veil. Before the Stronghold of the Veil is the Tower, which we just saw in the Revelations edition. We have the Axe of Shiva in both, but in this version, we also have the lightning that is breaking the chain. But we also have the Trident, or the Trishula of Shiva, and not just the axe. We have 2 weapons instead of just the one. Oh, well, I take it back, because that is also in this one. I guess so. The only difference is that it feels like here we get this like intergalactic vacuum that is sucking up the debris as it struck off the tower. Here, there's just a mess. And more obviously, a volcano that's also erupting in the back. So this is like tower after tower after tower. First, the tower strikes, and then the volcano erupts. And it's like, if we leave the tower, we get melted by lava. But if we stay in the tower, then we fall and then get melted by lava. Um, and before that is the keeper. The seeker, I just saw the seeker. Was it like after? No, the seeker is up there. I just saw the initiate. The initiate and the keeper are both in this little pile so far. Um, but the keeper is behind that tower on one side of the stronghold of the veil, and then on the other side is Mars and Leo. So we have Mars and then Mars and Leo flanking the stronghold of the veil. Since I'm pulling around the pages, apparently, because I already have the page of cups and the page of swords, so I thought it was only fair. And I saw that the page of wands was at the bottom of the deck. So Mars and Leo. Mars is the tower, obviously. We just talked about Mars. Mars is exalted in Leo, I'm pretty sure. No, Mars is exalted in Capricorn. Let me stop. It almost got me, but not today. Mars is exalted in Capricorn. And then we have the High Priestess, which is interesting. So we have the High Priestess this direction, and then we have the Keeper in this direction. I don't even know where to put this one. I guess I'll just put this here. I kind of want to put it like this. The wings of the Phoenix. If the Phoenix was the Page of Pentacles, who would ever expect the Page of Pentacles to be the Phoenix, right? Somebody out there would, I'm sure. The High Priestess is interesting because the Keeper is almost like the High Priestess embodied. But technically the Keeper... Okay. All right. Technically, technically the Keeper is the Fool after they've gone through the major arcana from Magician to the World, and they have integrated and understood at every single step what they needed to the point where they re-enter the world fully realized. So it's the Keeper is the High Priestess, is the Magician, is the Emperor, Empress, Hierophant, all of them. The Chariot, anything that the Keeper needs, major arcana, the Keeper can be, which is interesting because again there was this with the Two of Cups and the Chancellor, it's like aligning to major arcana justice rather than our self-centric what we think we deserve justice. But because of the Keeper's immensity, it's very reminiscent, or it feels like it ties very heavily to the moon, or to the High Priestess. The Keeper is the one with the mind and heart of the divine. So it's able to comprehend. We also have our triple goddess all in one space now. Oh, see, yeah. Okay. We have our triple goddess all in one space, all in one body now, rather than it being waxing, full, waning. It's all in the same place. On Earth. as it is in heaven. Hey. Because again, it's the stronghold of the veil. Page of Pentacles. Maybe that's why this has wings. See, and I feel like this dark horse is interesting. Because I said like there's this almost like time travel-y, and that's where I ended up putting these cards because I didn't know where else to put them. There's like something from the future that comes to the present to ensure that it happens. It's like if you were ever to become, I just mentioned Fate Stay Night Unlimited Blade works recently, how there's a character that becomes a hero. So there's a character that's summoned into the world as a hero while that character is still in their incarnation. And you find out as you watch the series that they're the same person. So not only did that person elevate into some kind of not into some kind of herodom, but they also exist simultaneously at the same time, and the fabric of the universe does not tear apart. That's not what happens. But there's something about that character interacting with his humanity so long after he achieved what he desired, so long after he thought he achieved what he desired. And so there's a cynicism that him and his humanity like that he doesn't have. Anyway, I talked about it recently. It came out recently, that energy. And it's kind of sort of here again a little bit. It's almost like the person that's pulling the strings is you. Cool. And it's like it's this dark horse. It's this hooded figure that also is in that vagabond Five of Pentacles. Where is it? Oh, look, there's our keeper. Okay. Where's our vagabond? I'm getting close. See, here's our hooded figure here. And the vagabond was the one that is also over here on the corrector. I'm pretty sure. Where is it? Here it is. Oh, yeah. It was the warrior, the vagabond, and the demon. But it's like that's our hooded figure. Anyway. Yes, here we go. Oh, that was this. There's something about this again that it's like it transcends time. It's almost like how we can break generational curses, right? So there's some healing that we do that heals our lineage moving into the future, but it also heals back into the past. So like, let's say that there's something that you heal within yourself and you help your parents or your siblings and then your parents' parents and then your parents' parents. It's like you break those chains going back, but also as more and more generations come after, it's already broken. So you don't have to worry about it anymore. But it's like you break your own chains retroactively. Good morning, Steph. How are you doing today? If that makes sense. It may not. Like if you are quantum wibbly wobbly, it probably makes sense. It's like if you are ever to obtain or achieve something, it's like you've already done it, even if you haven't done it yet. You know? And it's not to say that the divine doesn't assist, and it's not to say that the divine isn't there. But it's almost like Suzume. It's Suzume. She rescued herself when she was little, but it was her in the future. And it wasn't until she went back that the pieces connected for her, because she always thought it was her mom that reached out to her in that place, but it was her. Spoiler alert. Sorry, I already spoiled it. I should have said spoiler alert first. But again, it's like, because when I was talking about the character at the end of the movie in the beginning, like, I thought of Meet the Robinsons, because in Meet the Robinsons at the beginning of the movie, you see, how do I not know his name? Keep moving forward. Girl, what's his name? It's not Rudy. What's his name? What is Goob's roommate's name? Wilbur? Is it Wilbur? It may be Wilbur. I don't remember. But you see, when his mom leaves him at the orphanage, there's a noise that like catches her attention, and then she leaves the baby and she rushes off. At the end of the movie, you find out that he goes back in time to see who his mom is, but he doesn't look at her. But his foot slips, and it's like it's this thing at the end that ties it to the beginning. Anyway, my trip was lovely. Because you were eating poutine? I love it. It was nice. I didn't get to see Steph. I didn't get to see Kirsty, so the sun didn't come out, but it was still nice. How are you, Steph? I didn't get to see you either, so. Okay, let's continue. We got 2 more archangels to find. The Archangel of Healing is next. Is anyone surprised? So the Archangel of Healing is the 3rd archangel. So if you intuited, there you go. If you intuited Archangel Commander, Archangel of Glory, Archangel of Healing, ding, 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 you got 4 out of 4 because there's only one left. So I'm gonna leave this face down for now. Okay, I did that wrong. I was like, this is supposed to be face down. It's Cancer, which is the Chariot, which is the balancing of forces. Just trying to get through the season. I understand that. Well, I hope you a smooth as can be transition through the season. I know it isn't easy to feel like you have to hold it all together, especially for others, especially during this time. You know, no one wants to feel like they're the downer, but also at the same time, you're going through what you're going through. You know what I mean? So here is our 3rd, capped by the Chariot. Lux et veritas, light and truth. Lux et veritas, light and truth. Maybe that's why I couldn't get it dark in here, because the light of truth will always be here. Or something like that. Oh, this card I'm going to put face down. I don't want to look at it yet. We have the joyous one, Mars in Pisces. I said I wasn't going to go here. And I'm not. Mars in Pisces with an Archangel of Healing is the next part. Which is interesting because it's like the next phase is happily ever after. Like, it didn't seem like this devil was a big bad when it first came out, right? I thought it was like part 1. of like the hero getting used to, like, I thought the devil here, the demon here, was the loss of Gwen Stacy that made Spider-Man, that taught Spider-Man that he had to be more conscious and cognizant of how his powers interact with. Gwen Stacy isn't an object, but how his powers interact with objects in the natural world that are subjected to natural physical forces. And although he has like superpowers and although he has become superhuman, he still lives in the natural world, and the people that he interacts with, unless they're other superheroes or unless they're other super powered people, they're also subjected to the laws of the natural universe. They become an object of the natural universe through their subjugation under its laws. But I thought that was the demon. But now it's like we're already at happily ever after. Like, wait. Okay, now I gotta see. I feel like this is backwards. But is this not the story of Isis? Girl, why? Why? See, this energy right here, this is why folks quit the journey. TM, trademark, the journey. This is why folks regret going on the journey. This is why folks are like, the healing is never over. We are made to suffer. Because how did it go from me thinking this was happily ever after to like literally the Three of Swords? The bereaved. Like just when you think you have it all, boom. Tragedy strikes. Saturn in Libra. We already had Saturn in Taurus, so Saturn in Libra is Venus, the other side of Venus, Taurus and Libra. Oof. Maybe this is the other side. Of her power. Because, okay, Steph. Because I remember Isis energy came out. I don't even know if it was recently, but it was a question of whether or not Isis knew that she had the power of resurrection before Osiris was killed, or if it was the death of Osiris that awakened that power within Isis because she needed it to. And so is this the super eye rolly, like, does tragedy have to strike our hero in order for them to dig even deeper to discover the depth of their power? Does it require some dire and dastardly? Does it require some dire situation and dastardly plot? This is the most like eye roll. Just like, why? Of all of the things that like I really wish that had, like, if this came out, the Three of Swords and then the Ten of Cups. Welcome back, Steph. I mean, I guess I have the revelations to clarify. We'll see. I'm just like, oh my gosh. Like, not, like, I really thought we were at the happily ever after. I was like, ooh, I'm going to pull this card out face down and then we're going to reveal it. So I'm reshuffling the revelations. And I'm going to pull from the bottom to the top, before the Ten of Cups and after the Three of Swords. And there's our initiate. The initiate that literally came out right after our Archangel of Glory. There it is. These are the cards between the Archangel of Glory and this Archangel of Healing. The Initiate and the Emperor were the first two out. So it's like we're picking it right back up. And then there's our Giver. The Initiate and the Giver. The Giver, Six of Pentacles, is with the Scarlet Shield. This was the gift to the past in order to ensure the future, or whatever. Oh, snap. Well, my friend was like, you got to come to Canada. He was like, the next time I go to Canada, you have to come with us. I was like, I would have went. Like, I planned to go the last time you went to Canada. It just didn't happen. But my friend's wife lives in Montreal, so nice to know. I have to keep that in my mind. I have to save it right here. Right, that's what I was gonna say, Holly. I was like, but I didn't. Okay, before the Ten of Cups and after the Three of Swords, this is aromancy. Three of Swords, Three of Pentacles, geomancy. What am I don't know. I was going to say something, but I forgot. It's fine. Oh, wait. Three of Swords, Ten of Cups. So after, again, I find the after card first. After the bereaved is the Herald of Earth. Which literally, I just did this whole thing, the wings of the phoenix being the herald of earth. There is the herald of earth. So cool. Nice to know that that tangent wasn't as tangential as I may have thought. Most times the ramble wraps back around. So before the Ten of Cups, before the Ten of Cups is the Angel. Before the Angel is the Emperor and Death. The Emperor and Death being the two different faces of Mars. Mars being the tower that's already come out in both of these. So I almost feel like it's another tower energy because I'm seeing both sides of Mars, but the Mars card already came out. So this now serves, because again, I was like, this is the second natural connection. Also, there's the Four of Wands again, Venus and Aries. Because what was it? It was the Initiate, which was the natural, which is where the Vitruvian deck picked back up, and the end after of the first, technically second archangel, was this Mars energy, and before again is this Mars energy. So the Revelations picks back up, and the Vitruvian picks back up through the Revelations. So they're connected. It's fluid. At the very least, it's supposed to be. It's reading that way. The Angel. Before. I saw the Angel in the Revelations edition, in the Vitruvian edition, sorry. I almost mentioned it, but I didn't. Because now we have all three versions We have the angel at her most bound and her most free, but here in the in between. And you can see the ropes on her. The angel is the captive. The angel is the one held captive in the captor. Here, it's temperancing those two cups. Also between the light and the dark. Maybe that's the point. It's pouring between the light and the dark because this ended with being able to look inside of oneself in addition to outside at the world. So now that makes sense. Now this is a lot less frustrating. Now this is reading less like just as you think you hit your happy ending, your life falls apart, Three of Swords. And it's more like you've done all that you can do. Oh, Mars in Pisces. Mars, and then all of this Martian energy. Right? Both sides of Mars. Cool, cool. Okay. And then the angel is all mutable signs. Temperance is all mutable signs. I mean, it's still Sagittarius, but it's all mutable signs in the SKT. The chariot is all cardinal signs. The world is all fixed signs. So we get both that Mars and Pisces, but it's like specifically mutable water, and it is the water that is the emphasis here anyway. So yes, it works. Cool. It checks out. Awesome. Love it. This is Isis summoning Osiris back from the otherworldly plane back to the physical material. Like there's the portal. But also, this portal was literally in this tower. Very self referential. And I was like, the only difference between this tower and the other tower, this tower and this tower, because I was trying to spot the differences. The only difference is this intergalactic portal vacuum thingy that sucks up all the debris. And bam, she's putting the pieces together on the other side. Love it. Okay. I mean, it is what it is, right? Oops. There's our ivory shield. Okay. Oh, and it's the Archangel of Healing. This is like the ultimate healing. Reviving the dead, resurrecting the dead is the, like, that's as far as healing can go, right? Because I don't know, like, it's like that's the ultimate, like, what more can be healed than reviving the dead? Where else does that go? You know what I mean? Healing wounds that cause this. Okay, yeah, you get it. And then I guess Osiris would have been the emperor, Martian energy. Anyway. Oh my gosh, the dead emperor. That was Osiris, and she literally brought Osiris back to life. What? Okay, anyway. This is all Isis right here, Archangel of Healing. Okay. Oh, this is general. We'll take it as it resonates. This is resonating for me in a way that it's fine. I was telling Remy about this. Kinda. No, I was, because I felt it. And then I was telling Remy about it. I feel like I never call her Remy. I always call her Reem. It's fine. And it's here. This energy is like, it was already here, but now it's like very obviously here. Sort of in a way. But anyway. Where was I going with this? Okay. So now, oh yeah, yeah. So this is reading less like tragedy strikes after we get a happily ever after, and it's reading more like this is the point where we turn inside and we go, oh, I was the villain. Just as I have vanquished villains, and just as there have been other people that have played the role of villain in my life and in my story, I've played the role of villain to others. But more importantly, not less importantly, I've been the villain to myself. Did I say that right? It's like more important than us being a villain to other people, but also not trivializing our villainy towards others. So, of equal importance, we've been a villain to ourselves as well, right? Where's Leo? Sagittarius, Aries, Scorpio. Scorpio is the fire of water. It's Mars ruled. Um, anyway, and this is probably also a softening, or it's the introduction, the beginning of allowance. This long video. I mean, all my videos are long. Oh, wait, is that the time? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I need to go to bed. Where's my phone? Where is my phone? I need to go to sleep. I gotta work tonight. What am I doing? That is the time. Oh my gosh. I need to go to bed. I thought my desktop was still on Eastern time. So I was like, oh, that's an hour ahead. No, that's the time now. Oof. Um, there's also something very like keeper energy about this. There's something here. It's almost like truth lies at the boundary between the internal and external. When there's the outside sun external and the inside moon internal, at the boundary where they meet lies a truth. Oh my gosh, the Ankh, symbol of life, Isis. Let's go. Anyway. And it's like is this material and material sort of space. Because again, we've just seen, so the strongholds are heralds. The strongholds of the Vitruvian are the heralds of the revelations. We've seen that both the high priestess and the keeper, the enlightened fool, flank this page of pentacles. And so, oh my gosh. Oh, wait, I literally just held that up. um, and so that past, future, future, present thing, it's like we realize that there were ways that we've helped ourselves too. Like we realized that there were ways that we weren't just a villain to ourselves. where we were also a hero. Or again, going back to this with the most captor, this was when we see that the divine was there with us, even during the darkness. Even in our worst of times, there was like light and comfort in some way. But we couldn't see it, or we couldn't recognize it until we got out of that situation, because we were just so inundated by feelings and thoughts that we didn't see it. I think this is also a point in time where we pick up on the wisdom of past experiences, because again, it feels like, I don't know if it's a pressure differential, but it's like as the ruins of the tower are sucked into this interdimensional space, they coalesce into this pinnacle that sits on the pedestal right there, which could be the sublimation of our experiences, of our learning, of the lessons. It's all of those forming the pearl, right? The pearl of wisdom formed from the sediments of hardship. Anyway, I just had a thought. It's fine. All right, let's get this last archangel because I really need to go to bed. I just clicked. Okay. Well, we know that it's going to be the archangel of mysteries because she's the only one we have. Oh my gosh. Well, she's literally right there. There's our last archangel. Whoop, 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 whoop. Literally bridging. So it's the archangel of healing, the bereaved, the archangel of mysteries. Literally Isis. So maybe that is it. It was the situation that caused her to wake up to that power. But again, I guess I said that earlier, when it's like it isn't until we hold the mirror up to ourselves, it isn't until we put the acts of corruption up to our own neck that we purify the acts of Shiva's acts that removes corruption. It's not until we put it up to our own neck that we are purified, rather than us trying to purify the world around us. What's interesting is, though, pictorially, ooh, and that pinnacle is on her crown. I didn't even realize that. The pinnacle is on her crown. This pinnacle exists in this extra dimensional space. Um, but the pentacle is in a cage here. Here it's in a cage, but there it isn't, which is interesting. So let's see. After the Archangel of Healing is... No. It's a card, it's literally the only card in reverse in this entire deck. Okay. Oh, duh. Okay. See you, Steph. Much love to you as well. The bread of life, sorry. The bread of life, Ace of Pentacles, Ace of Orbs, the darkening was in reverse. Literally the only card in reverse in this entire deck. And this is our final stop, I guess. But I guess it's interesting because I was like the pinnacle is free here, but it's in a cage here, but now it's in reverse. That feels significant in some way that my brain, it's making me a little nauseous. Okay. Well, since I keep the cards in the deck this time, we're going to get another card. But this time, instead of going after the Three of Swords, I'm going to look before the Three of Swords. Before the Three of Swords and after the Ace of Pentacles. I immediately feel like, because again, the Archangel Commander concludes and comes before and after, girl. Bookmarks this. And it was that instead of trying to subvert the laws of nature, we learn to work with them. This is coming out like right off the jump. It's feeling like there's an acceptance here of things that we can't change. And why? I feel like I knew, but I forgot. This is Spider-Man realizing that he can't save Gwen Stacy. If Spider-Man could go back in time and try to prevent it, it's an outcome that has to be accepted. Because at the end of the day, the divine is still driving. Right? You know what I mean? So, yes, we have a say. Yes, we have a voice. Yes, we have an opinion. But at the end of the day, we don't really make the decisions. Like, there are choices and decisions that we do make. But at the end of the day, like, for the things that must happen, they will occur. There is no subverting certain things. And so it is a little Three of Swords. Oh, because it's the bereaved. It's like, this is Isis. If she were to have delved into the depths of her magic, only to find out that even if she could, it's like only to find out she couldn't revive Osiris in this alternate whatever. And even if she could revive Osiris, that she shouldn't, because of the consequences or because of the repercussions that it would have on the natural order of things. If Isis weren't a goddess, then if Isis had to abide, like if she weren't superhuman or a goddess, if she had to abide by the physical laws of nature, then she would have had to accept that he was gone, no matter how powerful she was, and regardless of her capacity to revive. But it's because she was superhuman and he was superhuman, because they were both deities, that it's almost like it was allowed to occur without upsetting the natural balance. Because again, Gwen Stacy was an object of the physical world. The physical, like, she was still ruled and governed by the physical laws of nature. And Spider-Man and all of his radioactive spider bite exited that, broke the chain, I guess, or broke some of those chains as he became a superhuman, much more as he got superpowers. And so again, like, heroes interacting with heroes or villains is on a completely different scale of like heroes interacting with people. When it comes to people, there are limits. Anyway, that's my initial impression. And so maybe this is some kind of taboo. But it's like, it's a taboo that only the superpowered would, like, it would only apply to them. Because like you don't have to tell me that I can't resurrect anybody from the dead, because I don't think that I can. You know what I mean? I'm not walking around with that assumption or ability necessarily, So it's like, it's not a taboo to me, because I wouldn't think that I can. But if I knew that I had the ability to, then it would be a taboo for me because of the laws, natural laws that it violates. So, in another direction, or told another way, just because we can manifest, or just because we are powerful co-creators, doesn't mean that we get to escape some of life's um, misfortunes. There are some things that have to happen for whatever reason, and the divine knows why. And maybe at some point in our lives, we'll know why. But until we know, we just do our best to accept it. With the Ten of Swords at the bottom of the deck. Oof. The Archangel of Glory came out, Angel of Art and Grace, which was our first archangel. Well, technically our second. So it's like we're going back to the beginning in a way. So before the Three of Swords, after the Ace of Pentacles. I don't even know if I know what the Ace of Pentacles looks like in this deck. Actually, I think I do. I'm pretty sure it looks the same, but it's colored. Oh, we are getting deep in this deck. Neither one has come out yet. Here's our Three of Swords. Before the Three of Swords, of course, is the Giver, the Six of Pentacles. I just mentioned this card. I can't remember where it fell before. So now this is reading as like balance, how the scales must be balanced in some way. And then after the Ace of Pentacles is the Two of Swords, the Blind Seer. This is the only time that they actually came out in order also. Archangel of Healing. Ooh. So before the Ace of Pentacles, Bread of Life, is the Ivory Shield, which is the Queen of Cups. And after the Blind Seer was the Archangel of Healing, Two of Cups, or King of Cups, the King and Queen of Cups. And then the Burden one is there. And then there's the Four of Wands again, Venus and Aries, which is the demiurge, which is the one that is able to shape their reality, as far as I know. Yeah. So I feel like very quick, very easy. This is Moon. This is interesting. Moon in Taurus and Moon in Libra. This is the Moon on the Empress, whereas we just had Saturn in the Empress. So again, because it was Saturn in Taurus, Saturn in Libra, now we have Moon in Taurus, Moon in Libra. Saturn is with the Moon. And again, it feels like these are this is the order as it's maintained for whatever reason. And with the Two of Swords, it's like our inability to see why something is the way that it is. Right? This is the limitation of our human understanding. I don't even want to say it's the limitation of our human understanding. It's just us. What? It's just our, and it's not an inability to accept things. It's a surrendering. I mean, it could be. It could be our inability to accept things. It could be the limitations of our human understanding. But it just feels like it. It's just unfortunate that we have to accept certain losses in life. And so maybe this bread of life in reverse coming out after this archangel of mysteries is like, even when we reach the heights of our potential, there are still going to be things that are outside of our control. Even when we learn to work with the forces of nature, even when we learn to align our will to the will of the divine, there are still things that are going to happen to us in life. It's like we're not immune. And it's interesting that the previous archangels that we've seen made a return visit. Because again, the archangel of glory came out, and then the archangel of healing was right there. The only archangel that we haven't, or the only archangel that isn't here, is the archangel commander. And the archangel commander, it opens and closes this, so the archangel commander would make a return at the end as well to wrap this up. And I was going to pull before and after the archangel commander. I guess I will. And I'm not going to, since I already shuffled it for this, I'm not going to shuffle it again. There are so many beginnings here. This feels like another rebirth. This feels like another beginning when we learn to accept our limitations. This is like, I feel like this ended so heavy-ish, but kind of not really. Oh my gosh. It's the Empress. The limitations of Isis's power. Although this is Urania. And then there's Moon in Sagittarius. And we just had Sagittarius here. And the angel. Now I feel like, see, this is the culmination of this. And they came out on the same side. How it was, at first it was Archangel Commander and the Gardener. The Archangel Commander finds us as the Gardener in the very beginning. And then at the end of the story, it returns to us as we've become the Empress. And then on the other side, whereas when we were fighting in the beginning with the Five of Swords, Hector, that came before, we found our peace in a way with this pugilist that came after. Like still holding the line, but much more seasoned and a lot less reactive and hypervigilant. That came out around the Archangel of Glory, like triggered a new beginning. This death, the death that causes the bereavement, kind of feels like a new beginning, but not really. But like at the very end, it's like when we accept the things that we cannot change, then we come into a new beginning. And this was way too long and way too much for me to try to summarize and whatever. I did my best to do it a long way. And I got to go to bed because I got to be at work in T minus not enough hours. So again, I'm going to take a picture of all this and I'll make it the thumbnail. I cannot do this. And I'll also post it to the community page because I know sometimes thumbnails aren't the easiest to really reference. But yeah, it's interesting because it feels like at this point, it's like we do all of that growth, all of that healing, all of that soul work, all of the magical um, exploration and revelations to at the very end when we want it or maybe feel that we need it the most. There's something that we can't change. There's something that we just have to accept. And this is what's left. You know, these are all the cards after the Archangel of Mysteries. So these were the cards before. This is how much we had before the Archangel Commander. This is how much we had between the Archangel Commander and, so this is before Archangel Commander. This is between Archangel Commander and the Archangel of Glory. This is how much we had in between the Archangel of Glory and the Archangel of Healing. So it's like it gets thicker and thicker and thicker, and then there was no separation. There was no separation in between the Archangel of Healing and the Archangel of Mysteries. And then this is everything that remains for the Archangel Commander to reveal as he comes back. Like, this is the rest of it. All the other cards are on the table. And again, since we already peeped the stronghold of the flame at the bottom of the deck, she was already there. And I'm looking before and after the strongholds. So we can only go before. So we are kind of cheating, but not really. It's the Knight of Swords, which is the last. I was like, the only court card in Swords is the Knight. The only one, like the King of Swords, Queen of Swords, and Page of Swords are already on the table. There's the Knight at the very end. And then the Hierophant, Holy See, is after or before that. With the Necromancer before that. The Moon and the Hierophant. I feel like this is significant here. Not 100% sure why. Also feel like the Hierophant was here somewhere. Like the energy of the Hierophant was here somewhere, but it isn't. Besides in the Devil. Because the Devil is holding up the same papal thing. But this is like, it's the things that lie beyond, it's the mystery that lies beyond the Hierophant. The Hierophant is our touch point to the divine. But this is everything that lies beyond, with the Moon being there. Moon in Taurus. Oh, that's Pisces. Wow. There's just like a huge moon. Oh, it's the Moon. This is the Moon, the Necromancer. Okay. So this is Moon and Taurus. And then Moon and Taurus is the Six of Pentacles, is the giver. Which was the thing, right? Between the Hector. Oh, the Hector. That's where it is. I was like, I know I've seen the Hierophant. There it is. The Papal Bull. And both the Hector and the Holy See. Cool. All right. All right. Thank you, Sandra and Kirsty and Holly and Steph for being here. I'm pretty sure I didn't forget anybody. And no problem. I'm sure I'll be back at some point. I know. And what's worse is that, like, work is so slow right now. So I'm going to be like, oh, but it's fine. It's fine. Yeah, let me take this picture. I'm going to take this picture and then I'm going to go to bed. You know what? You're going to see some mess in the picture. It is what it is. Well, you may not. You might. So, okay. All right. All right. Oof. This is interesting. I don't know why I expected this to be so fast. I really thought that I would do like at least like 2 or 3 of these in one video. But this is another permutation of the 4 archangels. The archangel commander. So in this permutation again, there was the archangel commander, then the archangel of glory, then the archangel of healing, followed by the archangel of mysteries. The archangel of mysteries brought with her the archangel of glory and the archangel of healing. So the last archangel brought out the previous 2 in the order that they came out. So again, that could be a like, I've already gone through this. There's something about almost like revisiting an original tragedy. But it feels so much heavier at the end because at this point you've already reached or attained or achieved some kind of embodied mastery, right? You're already Spider-Man. It's like if you couldn't save Gwen Stacy from a bully back before you became Spider-Man, but now that you have all these powers, you feel like you can protect Gwen Stacy from anything until you try to protect her from that fall and you still lose her. So it is like, I feel like it's heavy towards the end, but also it may not necessarily be that heavy. It's just, again, it's just an acceptance that there are some things that are bound to happen, regardless of, it's just like how they say that, like, there are some things that money and power cannot give, like eternal life, as far as we know, right? You can buy medicine, you can get the best of the best, but healing has its limits. So, anyway. All right, I will catch y'all later. Bye. I feel like I've been on here this long. I almost don't want to end it, but it's fine. I really need to go to bed, even though I'm not even tired now. It's fine. I'll survive. If you see me again, assume that I survived. If you don't see me, assume that I survived, because it'll just be a little sleep deprivation. It's nothing that I'm not used to, unfortunately. So anyway, I will catch you all later. It's been interesting. No, you hang up. No, you leave the line. All right.